Hello everyone! Today we will tell you about the movie, Gamer.
Do you want to go somewhere?
You want to go somewhere?
In this world, people become puppets in the hands of other people for the sake of paying off debts. Cable finds himself in the middle of a war. Other soldiers are fighting alongside him. Their main goal is to get to the save point. Right in the middle of the battle, a man with a briefcase walks, but the bullets don't hit him. They are 100 meters away from the save point. Cable notices a light bulb being crushed behind him. It helps him survive, but a grenade blast throws Cable into the street, and he makes a last-ditch effort to get to the evacuation point. Cable's real name, Tillman. He managed to get to the save point first. He has 3 fights left before he's released. At this time, Telnet has prepared an interview. Ken Casal says that there are 2 societies, but he doesn't understand which one is real. From the beginning, a society was created, a fully modeled environment in which people were ruled not by invented characters. They were completely real people. The players gave them completely different orders. It was Ken who came up with the idea. It made him of the richest men on the planet. 9 months ago, he created a new simulator called Assassins. In them, the player gets full control over a real person. The price of every mistake is 1 human life. Ken doesn't see this as a problem, as they have all been sentenced to death. They've been given an alternative. If they manage to survive 30 games, they will be granted freedom. He also reminds them that this game was created with the support of the US government. It all starts with a single embedded nanocell implanted in the brain. This cell replaces neighboring brain cells. These copies can be controlled remotely. Each person who undergoes this procedure receives an IP address for the rest of their life. However, control is strictly limited to their gaming environment. Ken gives the example of society. Once a person leaves the game, they can no longer be followed by a player. Ken asks the question. Perhaps other people on the contrary want to be managed. Gina promises to think about it. When the show ends, she admires Cable. Just as suddenly, their servers are taken over by the Zet people. They ask the citizens of the country to realize that Ken is the real evil, and if they don't stop him, all of humanity will be zombified. Between games, the killers are kept in a special base. The other players are jealous of Cable. He's the only one who can get close to freedom. He clearly has a plan, and that scares everyone. Tonight, a new game begins. It's a show the whole country is waiting for. One day, a woman came to Cable and handed over a picture of his family. If he wants to go back to them, he has to sign a paper. Cable wants to know how she got the picture of her family, but the girl has to leave. Today, a new player, Angie, joins the society. She's being managed by a very fat man who likes all kinds of fun. Angie notices Cable's picture and her face changes. A new challenge begins. Cable's squad is ambushed, but he manages to win again. He has 28 victories to his credit. The whole world is watching his fate. One of the soldiers wants to understand. Who's controlling them? Cable was controlled by Simon, which makes him very popular with the girls. His account gets hacked by the Zetas. They show the reason why Cable went to prison. The anonymous group asks if he wants to talk to Cable. Meanwhile, Ken comes up with a plan to kill Cable. Hackman will help them with that. Cable has a flaw. The delay between Simon's actions is a normal ping, but Hackman is not controlled by anyone. Later, the other prisoners notice a new player. They are also given new weapons, an underbarrel grenade launcher with automatic guidance. In the new game, Simon decides to talk to Cable. This surprises him, as Simon has never contacted him before. Cable is surprised that he's being controlled by a schoolboy. They get to a new location. Cable wants to go outside the game area, but Simon can't do it. Suddenly, they are attacked by Hackman. He manages to defeat Cable, but at the very last moment, the weapon stopped working. Cable realizes that he miraculously managed to survive, and if Simon wants to win, he needs to find a way to get them off each other. Meanwhile, Angie wants custody of her daughter. She assures an employee that his husband was wrongly imprisoned, but he will soon be back free. That makes the worker laugh. He needs to figure out where she works. Angie answers in the community. The worker's perspective changes. Her child has been found a rich family, and in this situation, she is better off with a new family. Before the new game, Simon is shopping for equipment, but he is interrupted by the Zetas. They're the ones who made it possible to communicate with Cable. It turns out Ken is very afraid of Cable. He knows very important information that will destroy Ken. There's one game left. Simon can't win. He has to give control to Cable, but the guy refuses. He's sure he can win. a girl comes to Cable's house. She tells him that Simon has agreed to give up control. In the new game, Cable doesn't have to go to the save point. He has to figure out another escape route. Cable asks her to bring him a drink. During the game, Simon gives up control. He goes down to the parking lot and refills the car with alcohol. Cable begins his escape, with Simon asking to get back in the game. Thanks to the lack of control, he manages to leave the play area. He is chased by several guards, but Cable manages to dodge each attack. But as soon as he gets out of the car, he is hit by a cruise missile. None of the onlookers realize what's happening. Cable is presumed dead, but TV anchorwoman Gina is sure it's a lie and asks to find his wife. She is currently under the control of the Fat Man and picks up new clothes for Angie. Cable meets up with the girl who helped out at the prison. She takes him to the Zet People's headquarters. The engineer explains that they were able to crack the access code that is in the player's brain. They need Cable to destroy Ken's business. At first, Cable doesn't want to help, but when he finds out what Angie is doing in the community, he has to agree. A little while later, Angie is on her way to fulfill a new order, but Cable comes to the rescue. Fatty still thinks this is a game. Cable asks the player to let Angie go, but he won't do it. In the elevator, Hackman was waiting for them. He shoots to Cable and takes Angie away. Cable was wearing a bulletproof vest, because of which he survived and caught up with Hackman. Hackman receives a serious wound. Afterward, the duo escapes. Fatty takes Cable to the club. Ken's men also come there and try to kill the duo, but it doesn't work. Jeannie comes to the rescue, and it turns out she's a member of an anonymous group and helps them get to the headquarters. There, engineers deactivate the nanites in Angie's brain. Cable recalls that the nanites were first tested in the army, but the memory still hasn't returned. The engineers test Cable's brain and learn that he was under Ken's influence before he even got into the game. Angie apologizes for not being able to get custody of their daughter. Their conversation is interrupted by Tracy. She learns that Ken was the one who adopted Delia. Upon learning this, Cable sets out to destroy Ken. He manages to break into the mansion and find the daughter. Although it was just a projection, Ken was waiting for him on the bottom floor. He tells him that he has managed to learn how to control several people at once. Ken gives the order to kill Cable, but Cable was too strong. Ken tells that while Cable was trying to catch him. Ken's men snuck into the Zetmen's headquarters and killed each of them. Ken's brain has been replaced 98%. This allows him to retain his own will and control other humans. Very soon, flying nanites will be released into the world. They must infect the US within 6 months. This will give absolute control. Cable faces a new challenge: defeat the Hackman. Cable curls his arm and kills Hackman. But as Cable takes a swing at Ken, his body goes numb, as the nanites in his brain activated. But Ken didn't take into account that Jeannie and Tracy managed to survive. They broadcast Cable to the whole world. Now the whole world will know that Ken is the villain. Ken gives the order to bring Angie in with her daughter. Ken tries to control Cable's body to kill his daughter. Suddenly, Cayman joins Cable. Cable asks Ken to visualize being stabbed. Ken unknowingly does so, giving an indirect order, and Cable emerges victorious. The whole world rejoices in the victory. Cable asks the engineers to deactivate the society and free its users. This concludes the movie. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. See you very soon. Bye.